episode 511 of the TV Dudes, recorded November 1st, 2024. El Deafo! This week, we discuss the Apple TV adaptation of a beloved children's book, El Deafo, by C.C. Bell. The series was chosen for us by John Paul Vitale as part of our Patreon showrunner tier.
Yeah, I gotta say, based on the title and the particular patron that suggested it, I was very nervous about what this would be.
Same. I knew nothing about the book, the author, the show, nothing. Not even that it was animated.
Yeah, so you can imagine us wondering just what in the hell El Deafo might be.
Right. But, I assumed that
From the patron that brought us big dogs.
Right. I thought John Paul wouldn't surely set us up too badly on this one, so...
Well, did El Deafo shock and amaze us? Stick around this episode to find out. But first, I'm Nick.
And I'm Les.
And we're the TV Dudes.
But El Deafo wasn't all we watched this week. Nick, what's in the diaries?
The Diaries of the Television Dudes. Brought to you by only the finest cocaine wine.
Oh man, we kept up on Tulsa King, and that's all I got to say about that.
We did. That happened. Another thing that happened this week was the wrap-up of Agatha All Along.
Yeah, so... Oh man, I almost wanted to end it with that, because that was
all right,
big
well,
thing.
we'll stick around. So at the end of this Witch's Road, we'll tell you about the Agatha All Along. Looks like you watched some Hyperdrive.
I did, and that's not what you're thinking. But
no, it's not. I'm thinking of the car race show that Kyle had us watch.
Hyperdrive is, that's the car show, but I also liked that.
No, but I was deeply wanting to ask did you voluntarily watch it?
I wouldn't be shocked if I rewatched Hyperdrive at some point, because I did like it.
It was
I
fun.
thought it was really fun. But no, this is a Nick Frost vehicle, sci-fi show.
That's what that was called.
Yeah. It was amusing. It was very fun. It was very 2000s comedy. This was I want to say it was around the time of Shaun of the Dead.
Had a Red Dwarf vibe.
Yeah. So I think I think this was what he was doing after Spaced,
but before
Shaun of the Dead hit, I think. Yeah. If I had to guess. But it's pretty funny. It's I watched it because I was like, we ran out of Lower Decks to watch, which latest episode of Lower Decks was the resort hangout one, which was not the fuck planet that I thought.
No, it was not the Riker.
I thought
fuck
Riker,
planet. But it was still pretty great. I am loving the last season of Lower Decks. Again, T'Lyn remains the greatest.
Well, they do a thing with Jennifer finally. Well, I mean, we did break up. Did you, or did you not talk for a year on a starship?
No, I walked right past her and didn't say a thing. I mean, I said it, but with silence.
But with silence. Oh
okay,
no,
cool.
we did never actually break up.
Shit.
Fuck. Ed and Brad Boimler trying to grow his fucking
beard.
I
love that nobody's saying anything about it. It's just he's got a few more little...
What the fuck are you doing, man? Trying to be his doppelganger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, shit. So Penguin this week, Clancy Brown and Christine Milioti team up to take out Penguin. And it cuts forward not a significant amount of time, but there's a time cut of him getting the mushroom thing back up.
Right.
Which honestly I thought was weird, because there was a whole thing of there's only 2 buckets. And I'm like, oh, well, if the next episode is going to immediately solve that, why did we...
That's what I was like,
why did we bother?
So that we've got why he has to move it to...
So I guess we have an excuse for the time jump?
I think the time jump was kind
of But I don't
weird.
think the time jump is... The only reason the time jump is necessary is because he doesn't have all the mushrooms.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know why they deeply wanted that time jump to let some dust settle.
It's not a big deal or anything, but it's one of those things wait, that seems like a wasted plot point.
It's the only odd thing in the show to me.
But because otherwise it's been so good. Yeah. Because honestly, when they keep saying Tony Soprano is smart in The Sopranos, or a lot of crime shows, even in Tulsa King, they say Dwight is smart. But Penguin is actually makes a smart move of, they kill some of his dealers and make a point of anyone that deals with Penguin. And they're and he's shit. So no one's gonna touch our shit because they're too afraid of the Falcons and Gigantes.
Cool, just give it all away.
And it's kind of brilliant. Because he's okay, well, the only reason we're going through these dealers or whatever is because we're trying to get the word out about this new drug. The dealers will come to me if there's demand.
Right.
Like, that's just how fucking economics works. Like, so, like, okay, everybody, like, tonight, you just fucking give out, like, whatever it is, free bliss night. And it works. The fucking, everyone's a little mad that they're like, oh, you're dealing on my streets without my permission. But they come to the sit down.
Right.
And because they like, well, now I got a bunch of...
And Penguin makes a great speech to them about how they've always been the underdogs that make the real money.
And it's because even the triad guys there, that that he's like, man, how am I supposed to trust you? You're a traitor, you're a backstabber, but it doesn't matter. Like, Penguin knows what to say to everybody, and it's like, yeah, but you kind of want this to be true, right? It's like at the
start, like, even though you know he owes you money, you also know he's not entirely bullshitting.
Right. Honestly, that $40,000 was the best investment that guy ever made.
And then, like we've been saying the whole time, his other great strength is being very nimble when shit blows up. He pivots really well, but he only is able to do that because he feels so sincere in the moment, every moment.
It's really tempting to show someone being a bad liar, so the audience knows that they're lying, but in the context of the show, they're supposed to be good at it. And it's only shows like Burn Notice that that like when he has an inner monologue that can tell you he's lying,
right?
That where they have the confidence to show someone be good at lying.
Well, because otherwise, being good at lying on a show means fooling the audience too,
right?
And shows can't resist doing the what I call the light on the bomb or the light on the listening device,
the light on the tracker.
Yeah. The like. You've got to have the character who's lying look at the camera or look at the audience, or as the character's walking away, they say it under their breath, but I'm really against you.
Right,
and
right.
Like, it's where we get the joke of, what'd you say? Nothing.
Yeah.
But really, I'm smart and I'm watching. If you really want this character to be good at lying, he can't wink like a fucking villain.
Well, what's impressive is that I can't, in the moment, I'm like, man, I cannot tell. I'm almost positive you don't mean what you're saying, but yet you're so convincing. Like, I don't know, like, push comes to shove, does he, like, throw Victor under the bus? I'd like to think no, but then...
And depends on what the shove is.
All evidence...
No, but you know he would.
But...
You know there is... He wouldn't want to, but you know there is a situation you could put Penguin in where he would.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the only person I don't think he would actually sell out is his mom. I think that's the only actual weakness. It's the reason he keeps her actually hidden.
Right.
Everybody else, man, is technically expendable, I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, Kristen Milioti coming to his girlfriend's house with that gun, and her acting cool through it too. But that one has the moment where, like, she kind of breathes in, like, oh man, I'm in here with the fucking hangman. I'm fucked.
Right.
But yeah, man, I'm so excited to see where Penguin goes. We watched Timo's new movie, Shadow Strays.
Yeah.
I thought was pretty good. It sucks that guy's movie, any action movie he does, is going to be compared to The Night Comes for Us, which is the best action movie I've seen in
maybe ever.
Maybe at least, like, I say a decade, but a decade's not long enough. I think
maybe 20 years.
This century is going to have a hard time defeating Night Comes for Us.
I don't think I've seen a better movie since 2000. A better action movie. Night Comes for Us is the pinnacle. It beat the Raid and Raid 2.
Right, which I thought were the top tier, like, to beat.
But his movies do tend to have an extra act somewhere, like a full fucking extra act.
Well, you and me were complaining about, like, that wasn't, what an impersonal third act that was.
Right.
Not realizing that was the end of that was the end of the second act.
Right.
Which, like,
I would say just not.
Or the end of the third act, and this movie has a fourth act,
right.
Which is like, what the fuck is going on? Also, I did like the style of it. Like, his assassins in this one wear G.I. Joe get-ups, like they look like Cobra.
It feels like his movies have crept closer and closer to just like, this is straight up superhero.
This feels like if he got a chance to I think
I want his Black Widow movie so bad now.
Right, like Hawkeye and Black Widow, I'm like, okay, here's the movies I want them in where I could feel like they could fuck around on an Avengers team.
Right.
Like they're humans, but like in a jacked up world where, like, you know, human beings can't do that sort of thing. Like they're straight up, like, I think there's moments where she just dodges bullets in this.
Oh man, it's insane. She does some insane shit. And it is awesome. The action is so fucking good.
But to the point of like just adding too much stuff on, there's a point at the end of this movie where a completely new character shows up to threaten our main character that is, oh, I'm 14, you're 13. I don't know what that fucking means. Who are you?
Who are you?
I mean, you got bad teeth. Is that supposed to be? And then
Oh,
another completely new character shows up in a motorcycle helmet to fucking to kill everybody, and not the other
Right.
14 to back her off so that like to save our character from another character we've never seen before. I was like, God damn it, just do another movie if you want to
Right.
do this. Like, just
And next movie, don't invent an entirely new world every time. Man, you could continue one of these sometime.
each movie invent a completely different fucking weirdly well thought
Right.
out world.
Every season didn't have like, well, G.I. Joe and Cobra, that was last season.
Like, is there any reason that this movie couldn't be these are the other Lotus assassins from Night Comes for Us?
Right.
And this is what they're doing.
Right.
I don't know. But in the Halloween spirit, we did watched the Killer Pumpkin movie.
Oh, man.
So, man, when we put on movies...
I almost wanted this for a Patreon. It was so good.
So when we put on movies, listeners, this... we have a hope that when we put these on, that they're going to be a Damn Sharks or Sharkansaw's Women's Prison. Which is not to say that those movies are particularly good, but they're the right kind of bad.
At least they deliver on their premise.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's one thing to have a bad movie be the trash you hoped it would be. It's another thing to have a bad movie fake you out with the trailer.
Right. And, that is a risky one. That's a risky...
Mm-hmm.
We're archaeologists, and sometimes there's darts and, like, booby traps. Like, sometimes we pick up the idol, and it's fucking...
Is that the term for trashy movies that don't really deliver? Booby traps?
yeah.
I think that's really accurate for these types of movies.
Man,
actually,
if you see tits in the first 10 minutes, be careful. That's probably a booby trap.
Probably a booby trap. Yeah. So
I believe that's where the term originated.
Carved in the first 10 minutes has an sentient evil pumpkin whip its vines out and kill a bunch of people.
Mm-hmm. Man, it just fucking
fucking
goes.
Starts, man. Also, the cast is insane. DJ Qualls, Manny, I cannot remember that weirdo's last name. It's the main, one of the corn kids.
Yeah.
Nick, you nailed it. Carved is everything I hope these movies will be when I start something that's a killer pumpkin destroys a town. Like, so the premise of it, it's a town that's 1 year out from a serious chemical spill, like a toxic waste spill.
Or a nuclear something, so that explains why the pumpkins are turning evil.
Yeah. It's not zombies, but it's sentient killer pumpkin. It's just one, really, at the start.
Right. Until you realize that later there's the litter or the batch.
Man, we had a blast watching this movie. Like, it's a fucking scream. The deaths are awesome. The humor's there. DJ Qualls is great. God, I immediately have a new Halloween, Thanksgiving fun watch movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, honestly, I think midway through we both looked at each other like, well, fuck Eli Roth, man. Fuck Thanksgiving.
Yeah, fuck Thanksgiving.
This is so much better than Thanksgiving. Like,
honestly, this is the Halloween, like, it's not nearly as well produced, but it's like, for me, this is Krampus. Like, this is okay, so everywhere on Halloween, I might throw on Carved just to...
Right. I'll absolutely watch Carved again. I'm in love with that movie.
I also watched the shorts collection Alter on Prime.
Yeah, I saw you going through some of those.
Which are just like internet shorts that they've compiled together into themes or whatever. So I watched the zombie one, Good Neighbor Vampire one. There's one that's just about being afraid of future technology.
I don't know about the tone of them or the quality, but the production value, like the camera quality, looked like
the production value is a step above what you'd see from just independent shorts and stuff. You could see that these probably played at the beginning of other movies at fests or something,
right?
Because they do look pretty good, but they're with actors and you would never recognize,
right?
And yeah, it's like some of them are cool. Like you saw some of the zombie ones, which are like, wait, that's kind of a dumb idea. What have you even like? So the zombie's protecting its zombie daughter or whatever. Is that his actual daughter? Like, but there was some like the one with the two devices paired in the car.
Yes,
was
that was
very
pretty funny.
short, but like very cool. Of like
good conceit.
two devices. It's like connecting phone, two devices paired, and she's alone in the car. Like
Right.
what the fuck? And it's
Where's
like
the man with the hook back there?
yeah, like the modern day
Yeah.
urban legend, like Man of the Hook urban legend thing. Like I kind of like that. What'd you watch this week?
Let's see. I
Did
kept
you watch
up on
some of the new Lincoln Lawyer?
Yeah, I've kept up on Lincoln Lawyer. I actually paused partway through season 3 because you were watching part of season 2, and I realized like, man, I don't remember the ins and outs of the previous season's cases.
Mm-hmm.
And I not that it's doing a lot of it, but season 3 is having some fun with like it's some callback to Glory Days, who's not really a character in season 1. She's just important, but they're looking for her. So anyway, I went back and watched most of season 1, and I remembered how the case solved. By the time we got to the finale, I was like, oh yeah, I remember how this goes. But it was still a lot of fun and kind of got me back into the characters. So now I'm going to move into season 2. Of course, we watched the newest episode of From.
Right.
Which, I mean, you could plot summarize any given episode of From. It won't matter. The show's fucking crazy. With the addition of the new cop, we've got Victor's dad there now.
Man, the way they handled that, having a whole episode with them, I
They
thought
spent almost 3 episodes slow walking the introduction of Vincent's dad to Vincent, and it's well done. It's so well done.
It's one of the, like Vincent might be one of those like best characters I've ever seen on a show, and one of the most tragic characters I've
Right.
seen ever. And it's him reconciling with my dad. Like there's like, oh, I finally get to see my dad, but also my dad's in the worst place, and I think it triggers in him like, okay, survival's not enough anymore. Now I gotta get my dad out of here. So
Right.
now I'm gonna take risks that I normally wouldn't.
I hadn't really considered that, but I love that the net effect of bringing in Victor's dad here is that the guy with all the knowledge that we've been like, damn it, someone talk to Victor and figure out a way out.
Mhm.
Now Victor has a motivation to really do it.
But his knowledge is not getting out based; it's surviving
just
based,
survival
which is a
based,
different
yeah.
goal.
Yeah.
Like you know enough to not fuck with shit.
Right.
But in order to get out, you're
But
gonna have
also,
to fuck with some shit.
He didn't find the talismans.
No.
Like he knows a lot of shit and yet doesn't.
Well, he knows how to survive here, but that's not the same as
Yeah.
I
I also have kept up on all of the quirky genius lawyer shows of late. I watched Elsbeth and High
Elsbeth.
Potential, which both had very similar cases weirdly this week.
Okay.
Different circumstances, but they both involve somebody who does not remember what happened the night before, but is pretty sure they committed a crime.
The classic.
yeah.
Maybe I did it. I don't
Right.
remember.
And both are fun. I'm enjoying how Elsbeth last season kind of had one overarching thing where she was investigating what we thought was the police chief. Turned out to not be. This season, they're having to deal with the fact that he looks incompetent at his job because of that scandal. And that's kind of fun. I kind of enjoy that they're doing that. But yeah, they're both fun shows. Speaking of, Ghosts over on Paramount Plus as well has been exactly, if you ever found that show cute, it's exactly as strong as it ever was. And then I watched a movie I had not seen since like junior high, My Best Friend is a Vampire, with Robert
Right.
Sean Leonard. And I cannot remember the actor's name that was in Boston Legal and Star Trek. Rene Aubergeron, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He's also in it. David Warner. It's a blast. It is a goofy kid becomes a vampire Fright Night kind of thing. Only they outright, no subtext, play it as his parents, his best friend, everybody. Before they think he's a vampire, they all think he's gay.
Sure.
And they think he's, for a little while, being groomed by this older man weirdo. And like, well, where'd he get that car? It's from that older guy. No. And like, because the guy from Boston Legal is basically his vampire guidance counselor that just shows up and like,
Mhm.
well, let me introduce you to the long lineage of magical legendary beings that you are now part of, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
You're going to want to get a mini fridge and some pig's blood. That basically, like, there's a handful of vampires that give everybody a bad name.
Right.
And then there's the rest of vampires that, like, it's just a condition. He's like, oh, I mean, well, okay, we do have mind powers. But I had forgotten just how outright, like, his parents sitting at home, like, reading, like, how to, still love your, like, are we still family living with your gay child, like, books. And
Mhm.
I'm like, man, this movie's in the mid-'80s. Bravo. It's actually pretty well handled for then. Then, of course, I watched a bunch of the Halloween-y episodes of Community, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Parks and Rec,
Sure.
stuff like that. The surprising show that I watched some of that I didn't think was going to be this good. Fanny threw on Nobody Wants This over on Netflix.
Right, you're telling me
with
about that.
Adam Brody and Kristen Bell.
Mm-hmm.
And holy crap, Adam Brody and Kristen Bell's adorable. Her
Right.
and Adam Brody are so cute together, it hurts.
Mm-hmm.
And their banner back and forth is like she's a train wreck. I always love that Kristen Bell can manage to play characters like Elizabeth Shellstrop on Good Place, where like you love
trash
them, but she's a fucking Arizona trash bag, like no lie. And in this one, she's a mess, man. She's a lot, and they really deal with the fact that she's a fucking lot, and he's got his own baggage. Not least of which is the fact that he's a rabbi. I was not that interested. This sounded like a pretty basic premise.
Sure.
It is absolutely the reason they greenlit this show is not the plot synopsis. Like the reason they greenlit this show is the sheer chemistry between the actors and how quick and fun the dialogue is between them and also everybody around them. Like all the little stuff that happens with the other moms in the synagogue and his brother and her sister, and she and her sister are the closest thing to like looking like they're actually doing a podcast I've ever seen on TV, I think. But they're trying to sell their podcast, which is basically a Sex and the City type thing, like about Kristen Bell's train wreck dating life, which now includes this rabbi. But yeah, Nobody Wants This. It's a terrible title. It is a super cute show. We tore through like 6 episodes of it. I think I'm almost done with it. Yeah, it's over on. Everybody's got Netflix somewhere, even if you don't remember it. Blow the dust off Netflix and go check that out. And also watch. While you're over there, you can make a great double feature of this sweet romantic comedy series and Shadow Strays.
Sure.
And I think that's probably about it for me. But this week we did not just have.
Oh, do we want to get into Agatha or?
Oh, yes. Before we get into the tuning question, let's do Agatha.
Sure.
The End of the Road.
I liked Agatha a lot more in the second half of it. I think.
Oh, absolutely.
I was having fun in the first couple episodes, but they definitely felt like we needed to lay some pipe in order to really pull off the Aubrey Plaza death twist and Wiccan, the introduction of Wiccan.
I didn't know where we were gonna go, and I'll be real, I haven't shit on the recent Marvel phase the way like half the internet wanted to, but
I mean I agree.
But
it's
after
not...
Secret Invasion and stuff,
yeah.
When the first couple episodes were slow and didn't quite click for me, I was like, well, man, just because it's a Marvel TV show does not guarantee that it's going to hit me straight in the heart. You know, like this might just be kind of blah. And then I think you're right. They had to set up a lot of they had to lay a lot of groundwork to get to where they eventually go. And the stuff they do with Patti LuPone, with Lilia, with Wiccan, and the ending actually make you want to rewatch the first couple of episodes.
Yeah.
Again, just to see, because they pull a fast one and it actually works really well.
I actually really like how it ends. It makes it to where the final episode is basically just an explainer episode of what's going on.
So spoilers for Agatha All Along, folks. This is about to get.
But even in the previous episode, the fight with death or whatever is so short. Like
it is.
They
it
definitely
really
did
short.
not have the. I don't really. I'm not saying I don't like the kids. Wanda and Vision's kids.
I don't care about them.
But I don't really care about them very much.
I mean, I think they did a cool thing making it like, no, you in a way that annoys death, you became real.
Right.
Because Wanda willed you into existence and your body went away because your body was basically a hologram, but you found a dead kid nearby because you are her kid.
Right.
I kind of dig all that. But that said, I didn't like WandaVision, but I ended WandaVision with the I'm not mourning her kids. Her kids weren't real.
Right. I mean, now they are kind of are, though.
Now they kind of are. So at least now they've put the work in to walk me around to the no, they are real. When it was just Wanda wandering out of town going, with and Rambo Monica going, oh, these people just don't know what you've lost. Nothing.
No,
you delusional psycho.
And as an audience member, I know what she lost, and I still feel like that. This is not. them shunning her is a perfectly reasonable response.
Right. That town should have killed her.
Right, should have burned her as a fucking witch. I like Catherine Hahn is like Agatha is it's how you write a character that doesn't quite have a heroic turn.
Right.
She's
Kinda
not
stays terrible.
She's not all of a sudden a better character now. Like Loki, we had to kind of like in order to enjoy the Loki show, we have to really accept a fast turn that someone made a presentation to a previous Loki of all the other things another Loki did.
It's wrestler rules. Like he didn't have a match where he helped like fed kids at a soup kitchen or anything. Just the audience loved him so much that last time he was a villain and this time he's the hero.
Right.
Yeah.
Agatha is pretty shitty throughout all of this. So like it was me all the time. Like I bound myself back in Boston. Boston? Was it like 1920s? Well, yeah. Why? Oh, nothing. I just didn't know you went through there. You bitch.
That was great. Also, her walking him through how to find, like, you know how to do this. I just got to walk you through it. Like how to find a body for Tommy.
Yeah.
And
dude, am I killing his kid?
It's way late in the game. You're not, but also way late in the game.
Too late to fucking be asking this.
Right. And then Wiccan getting to show back up in his costume. That's cool.
I really do believe that, and she the only reason she's as nice she is to, man, I don't even know what to call him now. Teen, Wiccan, Billy. Mm-hmm. He has another name. His actual.
He picked a kid with the same name, so at least that was easy.
So like Billy.
If you're going to possess a body, in order to not get those awkward, oh yes, because my name is definitely Jeff, kind of moments, you want to pick the same name.
My name's Tommy.
Yes, exactly. The Chucky problem.
The Chucky conundrum. I like that it's only because of her trauma with her kid. Like, and the kid thing is not as complicated as everyone seems to like. She didn't trade the kid for power.
No.
She made a deal with a previous relationship she had because her kid was supposed to die in childbirth. Mm-hmm. And she got an extra like 10 years or something.
Yeah, something like that.
I forget
10,
how
12 looked like.
Yeah. And so, yeah. And man, death coming in the middle of the night.
Say that kid was preteen.
Yeah, it was. And death claiming him in the middle of the night. Like, there's not a cool way to do it.
But that was
that's not. No, that's wrong. Like, that's fucked up.
That's no goodbye. Yeah.
You don't get to go say goodbye. And her waking up just to like a fucking dead ass kid.
Right. And I mean, it makes the line really work when Catherine Hahn looks when Death's like, no one has in history has ever gotten special treatment like you did from me, and she's like, special treatment.
Special treatment.
You
think what you did to me.
Right.
Was special.
Because like we're both watching it going, hey, I know you want your kid back, but the way that this actually is going to work is you can start grieving him right now, or you can make years of treasured memories and the grief will actually be so much worse. Mm-hmm. And you're still going to have to do it. And
so this kid could live in 1920 or 1820, whatever it is.
Yeah. Like, and like, you don't want to do this. Just don't. And
his life was basically helping his mom killing. His life wasn't very good.
No,
like he just kind of because Agatha was selfish.
And like he knows he finally caves on it and can't do it anymore because like he's looking at a witch of like knowing that he's gonna you're just leading him to death. You're just gonna lead him back around a corner where your mom can kill him over and over and over.
Right.
Also, finding out the Witch's Road song is bullshit. That was great.
Fantastic. Like, well, I mean, the whole Witch's Road thing is just and why does everyone think it's so real?
Because Agatha's been doing it for so long.
And why does everyone think Agatha lost her coven but doesn't really remember, like, well, I heard she lost her coven when she was on the road or whatever, but like everyone treats it as like a singular, like it happened one time.
Because this is almost all of those would be groups of like covens of witches who told any other witches they knew, I've joined a coven, we're going to go on this journey on the road. And then they go start the journey. Mm-hmm. And no one ever sees them again.
So, and then, yeah.
And as far as Agatha ever tells it, well, yeah, no, we got started, but then the road was very hard and they all died. And like, we know now that no, it never started. So when they throw that flashback into episode 1 or whenever they start the road and she's realize that she's completely shocked. Shouldn't. She's starting to launch into her spiel.
Smartly, remember the show made it to where Miss Sharon Davis, Mrs. Hart, or as they called her. I like that Wiccan got her name right. Because they needed a green witch, right? And so we're, as the audience, like watching, like, so she knows this isn't going to work because there's no green witch.
Or is Mrs. Hart really a witch? Well, now we know that she needed to grab a warm body.
Because they thought they needed a green witch.
Like, I mean, she was willing to kill that woman.
So and she's like, it's not going to work either way, dumb dipshits. But I guess you're not going to try unless I get a green witch or whatever.
Yeah, so we need a fifth person. Fine. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And when it happens, she's surprised. But when you're watching it as an audience perspective, you think she's surprised because, you know, Sharon's not a fucking witch. That shouldn't have worked.
I guess you do have some spark, lady.
When it was like, no, this shouldn't have worked, period.
Right, there's no road.
There is no road. And
then Wiccan comes hauling ass down the stairs,
and that's when she, like, you can see that's where she puts it together of, like, who Teen is. Like, oh, okay. And I love, like, I killed those people. Well, I mean, if you want to, like, think about it technically, I was going to kill everybody in that fucking basement. So you actually saved one person.
Yeah. So it's actually a net win, kid. Yeah.
Because I wasn't letting anyone walk off of that fucking basement.
Yeah.
I really liked how it ended up. I am excited to see where Marvel magic goes.
Yeah. I'm liking seeing more and more magic.
Mm-hmm. Also, like, Wiccan, like a comic accurate Wiccan costume is like...
That was wild. I know they changed the Naruto or whatever fucking headband a little bit.
Well, they changed it to look like Wanda's headband.
Right. But I actually like that look. It looks much better. So yeah, all of this was cool. I really shocked how much I enjoyed the finale of Agatha All Along.
But anyway, are we getting to TV Dudes Tuning?
TV Dudes Tuning.
Is it back?
Yeah, this week we had, in honor of Halloween, we had a tune-in question. What is your go-to spooky series? Do you love the sitcom episodes, the Brooklyn Heist, the Modern Family costume parties? Or do you go for the American Horror Story, Exorcist, grotesquerie kind of stuff? We've enjoyed Teacup of late, and From.
That's right.
And we asked, how about y'all? So, Dennis McElwain said he has tons of affection for Z Nation. He also loved Harper's Island, I remember that. And the first 5 seasons of Supernatural, along with all the gimmick episodes from the rest. Which is not a bad way to watch Supernatural. People forget the first couple of seasons of Supernatural, at least the first season, before there's any mythology really beyond a demon done killed my mammy and we're gonna hunt him.
I don't know if they're that southern.
They are. But in that first season, these are horror episodes. They're going for an X-Files, like...
Yeah, they're not campy supernatural adventures.
No, they're trying to really scare you. It makes it
and
fun.
then in later seasons, they're teaming up with Scooby-Doo.
Fuck yeah, they are. Oh man, that's a great gimmick episode. And then you want to read John Paul's?
Sure. So of course, not to directly answer the question, because why would you?
Why would you?
But this Halloween, I will be watching new Halloween episodes of Ghosts, Elsbeth, and the Parapeeps of Pittsburgh?
Pradeeps of Pittsburgh.
Pradeeps? Pradeeps of Pittsburgh. I don't know what that is. Plus last week's Halloween episode of Dr. Odyssey. That is a 50s superhero. Like that no one adapted yet.
Is I think it's Don Johnson and Pacey from Dawson's Creek. Joshua Jackson.
Okay.
Joshua Jackson is the doctor on a cruise ship.
No, I thought it was like man, you're gonna tell me that's an old JSA hero or whatever.
No, like Dr. Odyssey is the cartoon Del Defo watched, right?
Yeah. Did he team up with Stargirl or fight Stargirl?
Right. Both maybe.
And then of course, plus probably some more of Teacup for good measure. I mean, we actually enjoyed the latest episode.
Yeah, I haven't finished it out. I know it's all there. I've not gotten to. We had a bunch of stuff to
watch. Mistletoe Murders, the premiere of Mistletoe Murders, which again is a good title.
Yeah,
I'll say. Plus possibly the Family Guy Hulu exclusive Halloween special. Oh, I saw that. There's also the Halloween special Velma. I saw that too, but was not as excited to.
Yeah, that doubles as the series finale. Oh.
Of the oft-debated, oft-hated show, but at least we got to see Norville dressed as Pinky from Pinky and the Brain.
Might have to look that still image up.
Okay.
From, Google's. Well, on that note, Feels like a good time to mention that if you haven't joined us over at patreon.com/tvdudes, you can throw down $1 an episode and get bonus content each week. This week, we're going to discuss over on Apple TV the Casey Affleck, Matt Damon kind of a heist movie.
Mm-hmm.
The
Instigators. The Instigators. We've renewed our Apple subscription. We've taken an Apple subscription. We've taken another bite at the apple.
Yep.
And it was either this or Wolves, and I thought Wolves was pretty boring.
Right. Nick watched Wolves and said, we watched the trailer for Instigators and went, fuck yeah.
It might be like one of the rare out of 100 movies where we disagree on. So like if you see it and like, what, are you crazy? That movie was cute, but I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. So check us out over at Patreon for that.
Hell yeah. And what are we watching this week from our Patreon pick vault, I should say?
Well, this week we are watching El Deafo.
Eep, boop. Hello? Do you think my hearing aids make me look funny?
I don't see a problem.
Are you deaf?
I gotta follow my own path.
You can call me El Deafo. Oh no! Prepare for a monstrous makeover, my deaf friend. Stop! Yeehaw!
Cece can hear Mrs. Sinkelman all over the school.
Wow, that's impressive.
Where is Mrs. Sinkelman now?
She just flushed. Oh my gosh. Woohoo! Mrs. Sinkelman is coming. Go back to your seats.
That was awesome. You're a hero.
I am El Deafo.
El Deafo is a graphic novel written and illustrated by Cece Bell. The book is a loose autobiographical account of Belle's childhood and life with her deafness. The characters in the book are all anthropomorphic bunnies. Belle said in an interview what are bunnies known for? Big ears and excellent hearing. So she thought it was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
They're
cuter than bats.
They are. A 3-part animated miniseries adaptation of the graphic novel was released on Apple TV January of 2022, so it's been out a minute. The miniseries features voices of Pamela Adlon, Jane Lynch, Chuck Nice. The miniseries is narrated by author Cece Bell with music by Waxahachie. I really like Waxahachie. They're great. Kind of a one-woman band. Most of the dialogue is filtered through hearing aids, which is pretty cool. It makes for a really neat soundscape.
Mm-hmm.
And the child version of Cece Bell is voiced by Lexi Finnegan, who is also deaf and has cochlear implants. I'll be real. I mean, we said it in the top when John Paul was like, so there's a 3-part thing on Apple TV that I want you to watch. It's called El Deafo.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
sure.
John Paul, what are
we doing here?
Trying to get me canceled? This is a setup, man. This is a setup. And then we threw it on, and it is 3 parts, half hour each. So just 3 episodes to watch. Pretend you have kids, whatever you need to tell yourself to go turn on a week of Apple TV free trial and watch this. I am not saying that Nick and I came out of it like understanding the deaf experience or anything like that. That's insane. But I definitely learned several
I came out with
things.
a better understanding.
Yeah, I several things I'd never considered in the deaf experience. Especially like from a kid's point of view.
Well, hearing it through the hearing aids is very interesting.
Yes.
As
her hearing is changed by the devices and by her illness, we hear it change.
I guess I should have realized, but I never really thought about it, about how you have hearing loss. Like there's different levels of hearing loss.
Mm-hmm.
Like Cece is not completely deaf.
No.
She can hear it, and what it sounds like to me is that she can hear low-level frequencies.
Right. It's
so
a very limited frequency range that she can just suddenly hear. Like when they're running the tones down in the test, you know?
Like, yeah, there's low rumbles she can definitely hear. Like, she can tell when people are talking.
Right.
But it's like that, through a base of a stereo.
Or like Peanut's parents from another room.
From another room, yeah. Like, it's, you're only getting the base information of that someone is speaking and not any information on what they're saying.
And so, like, the first episode, we watch her very quickly, like, get sick and lose her hearing.
Wow, that was she gets very sick. She gets a headache. They don't get into exactly what happened or what's the.
Yeah, I don't know what illness she
but
had.
I'm assuming it was some sort of massive inner ear infection that
something, because she throws up.
well,
she loses her balance.
She can't walk. I'm like, oh, she must have lost her
inner ear's fucked.
her inner ear equilibrium.
Mm-hmm.
And she's in the hospital bed and like finally kind of like wakes up and starts to feel better, but now can't hear. And it takes the family a long time to realize she can't hear.
Like, it feels like a few days to realize she can't hear.
Well, she was so sick and so young that she's just like, she's not talking a lot. And like, well, your parents, like, well, she was very sick, probably got very scared. She fell off the couch and just like threw up.
Right.
She probably thought she was going to die. Just out of nowhere, some pain in your head.
Right. It seems like she was unconscious for a day in the hospital.
Yeah, it was fucking serious. Like, my kind of like, I'm like, oh wow, like
this is what we're doing. But the animation is so cute and sweet, and the music and that like it got so real so fast, and then we knew like, oh, this show's gonna be like this. We're gonna really deal with all this stuff.
Yeah, it didn't shy away from what the fears of a child are.
No, and not to, Cece's wonderful, but also she's hurt and kind of shitty sometimes.
Well, her refusal to learn ASL feels like I mean, no, you should definitely.
She's in the wrong, but I get it.
She doesn't want to be any more different than she already is.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, I get that.
Watching her come around on her hearing device, the microphone.
Well, man, the microphone is almost like straight up magic.
Well, like at first she doesn't want it because the thing is huge.
And it's going to make her look...
Phonics, I think, is the brand name or whatever of the thing she gets.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's a huge hearing aid, but it has like a microphone that another person wears around their neck, and then you hear their voice directly in your hearing aid. And it makes school like suddenly possible in a different way for her.
She can understand the teacher almost like it, from what I understand auditorily. Like, there's still some like talking, like a frequent, like your
long distance call kind of vibe,
like but like a very high quality Skype call.
Yeah,
like you can just hear and
for
understand.
Her, it is wonderful scene. Like even on an animated bunny, like you can see the like wonder of it, of like, oh my god, it's back.
Yeah, like being able to hear, and I can only assume that is a frequency that's basically just hitting out every other frequency other than the ones she can hear and just pumping that up.
Right.
So that it's more intelligible.
And watching other kids
or intelligible,
not like her, like treat her weird, which hurts, and then treat her really great, only to be revealed that they're treating her like a weird doll.
Well, I mean,
or a new toy.
So yeah, because there's like, okay, so there's 3 stages in her friendship era. Like there's Laura, there's Ginny,
right,
and then there's it's
Martha.
And then Laura is, man,
Laura's terrible.
Laura sucks. I was gonna say, like, Laura, why are you gonna be such a bitch?
Like, Laura sucks.
And
she's the super bossy kid. Like, hey, do you want to come to my house? Great. Here's what we're gonna do.
Right. Hey, she's my best friend.
By the end of it, she sicks her damn dog. When that happened, I was like, go home.
What the fuck is this?
Go home. You don't have to be here.
Right.
So then she ditches Laura and makes friends with Ginny, and Ginny seems great.
Well, Ginny is learning ASL at some point,
right?
Which I can only assume
Ginny is great, like
right
over time.
But she does introduce her later of like she seems cool, likes the same hero that she likes, some sort of electricity based hero,
mighty something.
Yeah. But they bond over that. They sing the song. And then Laura's like, that's a dumb baby show. That's not how the song says. How do you know what the song is?
You just said it was a dumb baby show.
Fucking poser.
Shut up, Laura.
Fuck Laura. I don't know what. It was like something in realness of like,
we were immediately like Laura sucks.
Like, man, fuck you, Laura. Like we hated
Laura
her immediately more than like other fictional characters. But Ginny invites her over to sleepover, and they at some point realize that she's deaf. Like everyone like doesn't quite notice at first, and then figures it out because one of them said that my cat might likes pie, and it's like, oh, that's funny. Like, what? It's funny that my cat might die? Oh, okay, so I see where I fucked up here. And so Ginny explains it like, oh, this is my deaf friend, Cece. And it's like, why didn't you just say friend?
Right.
That, I didn't,
Like, wait a minute, yeah.
And then they play a comedy album. Like, here's my brother's comedy record. And I think you're like, when is this set?
Yeah, that's when we realized this is CC Bell's 50, and this might be set a little further back, like my childhood type.
Right.
Childhood.
Well, I mean, she fantasizes about her, like, Matt, her dream guy that shows up. And it's a 60s, like,
yeah,
John
he
Lennon.
becomes like the Birds or, yeah, like Donovan. Somebody compares her new glasses to John Lennon as well.
That's right. Which is a great compliment, actually. The Ginny, offers to help, but in that way that kind of like sucks. Because, rather than stop playing the record and doing another activity CC might be able to participate in and enjoy, she goes, oh, don't worry, I'll explain it to you.
Because nothing is great. Nothing's better than explaining a joke as we go. And then also for all the other kids in the room, you just keep interrupting this record.
Right. Like, talk about worst of both worlds. Like you've picked the worst option out of all of this.
She barely explains two of them, and then the third thing she says is just the punchline.
Yeah,
like it's a non sequitur group of words.
At least the first two, she's setting it up, and they're not funny. They're fucking puns or whatever. Right. Like, okay, I get it.
And then the third one is just like, and then her thermometer spoke. I'm like,
yeah,
what?
Like, what? No, you're just skipping to the punchline part of it, and I don't have any context for this. And yeah, because she has a hard time. It's easier for her to understand if she can read lips at the same time she's hearing stuff.
But like, it amazed me that the show, as you watch her evolve with her own understanding of deafness and how isolating it is and growing up with that, and how you incorporate the technology. But then we also watch her relationships mature. Like she gets better friends and keeps some of the friends that change. Like Ginny's not the bestest friend ever. That's really kind of more Martha, but also, Martha's got some shit going on.
Martha's definitely.
And then the boys come, like, you've got
Mike,
like, and Mike
shows up.
Coming in. All of this for a children's show that doesn't ever get, like, weirdly complex or anything. For a kid's show, it's still a kid's show.
Right.
It stays a kid's show. It just handles all of this, I felt, really, really well.
Well, in a way that
shockingly well.
Jane Lynch plays the teacher, and there's, she doesn't. At some point, the PE teacher breaks her fucking microphone.
Right.
I think Clancy Brown plays P Evil, which is a fucking great name. She contextualizes a lot of what happens to her in context of the superhero show she watches. So she's like, El Deafo is her superhero name.
Mm-hmm.
She fights Spider Mom when she tries to make her learn ASL. And then Martha's her sidekick.
The name origination of El Deafo is cool. Her siblings and her are watching. Her siblings are watching a TV show that has a deaf character, and at first she's like, "Oh, awesome!"
Right.
And then immediately,
someone's like, "Hey, what did that other girl say?" And then the siblings don't they're making fun of her for being deaf.
Like they're
calling her Deafo.
They called her El Deafo.
And it's like, oh, that sucks. But then also she's like,
Defo,
and she's like, but Defo's funny. Like, Defo's a funny word.
And there was a weird moment, but I like that. Like, no, that's a hurtful word. I know it is. I can tell it. I can hear it. But also, it's a goofy word.
It's just fun to say.
Defo. Like,
Defo. And she starts to say it. And it's even in the 70s or whatever, I would have watched it to the end of that episode. I'm sure the moral of that story is to not make fun of
right. This
deaf
is bound
people.
To be a very special episode.
She left before.
Probably not done any better than Jenny at the party. Right. Still.
But she's,
she's like, fuck that. And
it makes her, nervous at school. And even the kids aren't truly shitty about it. They are just like, one of them.
Kids.
One of them is like, hey, can you hear this? And he put some music or whatever. And I don't think he was being shitty. I think he was genuinely like, wait, can you hear? Obviously you can hear me because you're responding to me. So you can sort of hear me, but what can you not hear?
Right.
Like he's just trying to like parse it out.
Right.
In a way that, kids have a natural curiosity, but no filter.
But also you could see like these teachers that are like, no, I'm just not going to risk it.
Whoa, don't do that. And that's where she figures out that the teacher doesn't turn off her microphone a lot.
No, which is awkward.
I mean, there's a lot of little kids listening to a grown woman go to the bathroom in
Right,
this show,
right.
which, I mean, it's not. I mean, it happens. It's not gross or weird. Like it's just a thing that these kids.
Right. They think and that they think it's awesome and hilarious.
Dude, they love.
I truly believe that that's how these kids would react.
They love her. Like now they can tell when she comes back, so they don't end up in the bad tomato or whatever.
Oh my god, yeah.
God, that was so specific. That definitely happened to Cece
Bell in real life. For
real life, because like, I don't want to see anyone any shenanigans when I get back in here. Otherwise, your name goes into the tomato.
It only takes one
It
bad
only
spot.
takes one bad spot into a tomato, and like, what what is this tomato? There's an apple on her desk.
Right.
Like, there's like, what? I don't understand. It's so weirdly specific. And yeah, the PE teacher is the opposite of the like, she's cool, but loses her microphone at some point, and she's never trained herself to turn around and talk towards the class because she has a deaf student. She has the microphone. Like,
yeah. So in the 6 weeks when the microphone's gone, yeah, she just doesn't know to turn around.
And Cece isn't going to mention anything to her because, like, I don't want to do this every time, and I don't want to be noticed during class. But the PE teacher is just put out of, like, there's definitely that. You've seen those people where, like, I mean, I bet you're just too lazy to hear the frequencies. Like, I have to make a special accommodation for you. Why can't you just suck it up?
Right.
Well, I mean, I can suck it up emotionally, but you realize that I can't fucking
straight up
hear
can't hear you.
Like it's like I can't physically do the thing you're asking me to do.
Right. Like you can yell louder and stuff. Like, I can't hear that frequency.
It's just nothing I can do about that.
Yeah.
Like, why can't you just walk it off? Because I'm in a wheelchair. Like, I felt like that was a pretty
rub
obviously
some dirt
not
in
an
both
option.
ears there, Cece.
I felt pretty sure I was not an option.
Go on, Belle. Rub some dirt in it.
She has a, existential crisis of whether or not she should, tell the teacher whether or not she could hear the microphone. And I remember you and me were on the, I know this is going to sound weird, but you cannot fucking narc out these kids to that teacher.
You have to do this. I'm sorry. If this is something you're going to talk to people in therapy about later. I'm sorry if this is.
You committed to this though. But if you narc on this whole class, they're gonna treat you bad, and I'm gonna be on their side.
You're gonna be a pariah, and it's your fault. I'm sorry, it's your fault. You have to lie to this teacher. You could lie to that teacher and then explain later what you did, and they'd be like,
"I get it. I get that.
You had to. Your hands were tied."
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're Tinkleman now.
Oh man, how is she not Tinkleman already?
Yeah, because her name is Singelman. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved this. This was wonderful. 25 minutes each or so. They're under 30 minutes each. For an hour and a half of your time, this is an absolute joy.
I thought it was really beautiful in spots, as far as how her mom especially is trying to help her.
Mm-hmm.
Martha, like, she's having to be more emotionally mature. The show never goes into it, but she has to make special considerations for her friend, who is obviously someone on the spectrum.
There's some kind of anxiety disorder happening with Martha. Like, she gets so sure. I've felt it when they have to explain a couple of times to Martha, who is like, well, when we were running around in my yard, I accidentally let a tree limb snap back and it hit you in the eye and your eye bled, and now you wear glasses.
Yeah.
And like, those are not causal. I mean, she found out she needed glasses because she had to go to the eye doctor.
She went to the eye doctor.
But so actually, it's a net positive, actually.
Well, yeah, because it was fucking, I would imagine it's fucking up her.
Harder to
read lips. Yeah.
But when they have to explain to Martha, like, but my eye's fine. I know, but I thought I permanently hurt your eye. Like, but you didn't. You're looking at me and it's fine now.
Right. But it's
she can't move past the point when it happened, even though it didn't actually happen that way.
Yeah,
and like that's I've had that kind of depression, anxiety, rumination, panic kind of thing.
Even though I know you're not mad at me, it triggers a feeling in me on it, so that's why I'm not hanging out with you, which is unfair.
What if it had happened? Yeah.
But what if which is and Cece has to like really make considerations so that the relationship can work, which is
like, I've never been mad at you. My eye is fine.
Yeah. And she gets to fix it later when Mike takes her microphone out. I also like that Mike is obviously oblivious that Cece has a crush on him.
Right, but
also Mike's
pretty
cool. Like, Mike's immediately like, dude, your microphone makes you like a superhero.
Right.
And she's like, thank you. That's what I've been trying to like say to everybody.
Right.
Like, and he's like, hey, can we like like how far is the range on this? Like,
It's
I'll go
fucking crazy.
I'll go walk downtown or some shit.
Right. He like walks to the drugstore where they can buy candy and like
it's
yeah.
like
yeah. I absolutely loved watching this show. I would recommend it.
It reminded me of when we were watching Kotaro.
Yes.
Of like, this is an important way for you to at least somewhat put yourself in the shoes of a person that you have no context of.
Right.
I really enjoyed hearing what I'm sure that might have been a fight of like, do you really want to hear this much dialogue through the
right
hearing aids?
This effect, and yes, you do.
And I think it's important that we do. And
also, you're going to meet a lot more deaf people than you're going to meet 4-year-olds living in the apartment next to you.
Yes, yeah.
So I do feel like El Deafo is a little more applicable to my own, but yes, they both are like important, sweet, well done ways to learn some pretty deep emotional truths, I think.
Yeah. How to go through life, how to treat others. Like Ginny even learns to like, stop stalking so slowly.
Right.
And she thinks she's helping.
And then she realizes mid-sentence one time, like,
yeah,
oh, I'm just being weird.
Yeah, I'm being weird. No, everyone else here is talking at a normal speed, and you've understood everything they've said. Right. So why am I doing this?
Why am I talking?
Why am I doing this? This is weird.
Yeah.
Like, and where did Laura go? I feel like Laura disappeared.
Who cares? Laura sucks.
Fucking Laura.
Fucking Laura.
I highly recommend this, especially if you have kids.
Oh my
but
gosh,
even if you don't, I think it's a genuinely heartfelt story.
Yeah, worth the time, worth the watch. Well, I think that's probably going to wrap it up for us this week. Thanks again to John Paul for picking such a great show.
JPV, you're fucking on a hot streak.
Oh, yeah. Tune in next week. We're going to discuss a little more Apple TV. We're going to see what all they got over the place where celebrities go to hide. We're definitely going to watch Bad Monkey. I think that'll be our main discussion next week.
Right.
Which I've heard nothing but great stuff about. So tune in next week, and we'll take another bite of the apple and see what's up. Till next time.
We're going to be stuck in the bad tomatoes.
It only takes one. It only takes one spot, Nick.
Damn it.
Tomato dude's out.
Cece can hear Mrs. Sinkelman all over the school.
Wow, that's impressive.
Where is Mrs. Sinkelman now?
She just flushed. Oh my gosh. Woohoo! Mrs. Sinkelman is coming. Go back to your seats.
That was awesome. You're a hero.
I am El Deafo.